3 centuries ago, the first superpowered beings known as metahumans appeared on Earth, ushering in a new era of gods and monsters. 3 decades ago, an extraterrestrial baby was sent in a spacecraft to Earth and adopted by Kansas farmers. 3 years ago, the baby, now grown, announced itself to the world as Superman, the most powerful metahuman of all. 3 weeks ago, Superman stopped the country of Berea from invading Jarampur, sparking controversy around the world. 3 hours ago, a metahuman called the Hammer Baravia attacked Superman in the city of Metropolis. 3 minutes ago, Superman lost the battle for the first time. Welcome to my spoiler review of one of my favorite films of 2025, the James Gunn helmed reboot of Superman. After a text recap, we open on Superman crash landing in the Antarctic as he waits for his companion, Krypto the Superdog. He's unruly, but they care deeply for each other. He leads in the Fortress Solitude for recovery, and it's one of the main instances of how I really enjoy remixing elements from the comics and other adaptations, the Donnerverse in particular. We have the Crystal Palace juxtaposed with robotic helpers and a giant sun catcher to amplify the yellow rays' healing powers. Even here, we have a good mix of big names and regulars of the director. Her Ellen Tudyk, Grace Chan, Palm Clementif, and Michael Rooker, with the essence of Jor-El and Lara being played by Bradley Cooper and Angela Sarafan. Though some people disagree with this approach, I actually like how the movie bypassed the origin story this time instead of acknowledging it happened. Even non-comic readers have turned this onto this that he's the last child of an alien race. Using another example from the same brand, not every version of Batman shows the Waynes getting shot in the Opera House alley, but people still know what happened. Just dealing with the brave and the bold as it comes. I do like the new suits, and even the red shorts have come full circle from the strongmen of years past to the flashy pro-wrestlers of today. Anyway, after Clark re-engages the Hammer, it turns out the latter's actually an enforcer and the employee of Lex Luthor, Ultraman. Yes, I know who the character usually is. I'm intentionally not mentioning who he really is in this version yet. We'll get to that when the time comes. The movie's story and characters are heavily influenced by these comic storylines. Superman Birthright by Mark Waid, Superman for All Seasons by Jeff Loeb, and one of my personal favorites, All-Star Superman by Grant Morrison. On that subject, the movie remixes lots of characters from past adaptations in unique ways. Lex has an Otis, played by Terrence Rosemore, and a Miss Eve Tessmacher, played by Sarah Sampaio. He also has a mercenary setting up the Authority spin-off, The Engineer, played by Maria Gabriela de Faria. The fights also do a good job of not falling back on the kryptonite right away. This variant is consistent with how I typically power scale Clark, placing him against opponents of equal or greater strength. To level the playing field, Lex has been studying Superman for years, with over 2,500 countermeasures. He's honestly joined the list of my favorite variants of Lex, which typically go for the post-crisis and even the Earth's depiction of having money, wanting power, and seeing others as standing in his way of that power, especially Superman. The idea of him being an egomaniac tech bro fits that mold perfectly. It's another version where Lois knows Clark is Superman. I always like how that adds another dimension to their relationship and their work-life balance. The scene where Lois interviews Clark as Superman is both a great look at the ethics of that line of work, an excellent remix of the I Spent the Night with Superman scene. On that note, full disclosure, Superman is my favorite DC character for years. I always do best to treat each variant on their own terms, the moment his iconic red boots are on the ground. Regarding the last continuity reboot, I enjoy both of them for different reasons. The last one is notable for what it changed. This one is notable for what it brought back. As Lex's henchmen provide distraction, he and his team find a way into the fortress, and the engineer, whose given name is Angela for this variant, starts decrypting the Kryptonian message while kidnapping Krypto to use a burning ship. Back in Metropolis, the distraction sent after Superman is easily my favorite part. The fight with the kaiju. We are also introduced to 3 founding members of the Justice Gang, none of which I'd oppose seeing in this continuity's Justice League. The Guy Gardner Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific, played by Edgar Theggy. I definitely shared enthusiasm for that last one, even if I don't feel as strongly about his fate in X-Men First Class as others, who's getting game-ended by beta Thanos effects. I will say the CGI for the Green Lantern constructs has improved a lot in 14 years, and a practical costume with a Mo Howard haircut works a lot better than using a whole CGI suit. They even CGI the Domino mask. Though the Beast is successfully defeated, Superman is implicated by the message and is facing demands in terms of in a Planet Watch. This also leads to a medic wears a dog scene and a Peacemaker cameo. As Clark and Lois embrace in her apartment, this scene is a key illustration of a question that's been asked plenty of times over the years. What is a character like Superman in an age after the angst of Batman, the snark of Marvel, and the more profane anti-heroism of Deadpool? The answer is often found beginning that question in the story. With much reluctance and a heavy hand from Rick Flag Sr., Superman turns himself in. At the Hall of Justice, Lois goes to ask for help in finding Superman, who's been kept in a pocket dimension alongside Krypto and a host of other prisoners, plus a whole gaggle of monkeys. He's posting false rumors online. He's placed in a cell with Metamorpho, played by Anthony Carrigan, though he's forced to play along, forming kryptonite to keep Superman subdued. They're both horrified when Lex kills an innocent human in cold blood. To offer a counter-argument to Stephen King's remarks about the genre, it's this scene that is an obligatory reminder that James Gunn started out as a horror filmmaker. Tracking Clark to LexCorp's base, Mr. Terrific engages the mercenaries to 5 years' time by Noah and the Whale. Always a delight to have James Gunn introduce me to new music. More than more for witnessing what Lex is capable of and seeing Clark in his state is what gets them to trust each other. Still really enjoy the T-Spears. Like a bunch of Pokeballs that were designed by Apple Incorporated. Do some quick thinking as to the dimensions already destabilizing. Superman, Krypto, Metamorpho, whose given name is Rex, they're rescued alongside his young son. The whole Pocket Universe sequence and its subsequent escape are just incredible, especially like how Rex becomes an octopus near the end. Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo, is also getting details from a contact inside LexCorp. Though Eve initially seemed more of a blonde ditz than previous incarnations, it turns out it was an act all along. Hiding intel in her glamour shots, she gives Davy Planet everything like Lex's collusion with Vasil Glucose, played by character actor Zlotko Burek. Typical Lex, always about the land, and he wants to use oil money to build his own tech bro playground. Definitely not a stretch these days. As Clark recovers back home in Kansas, he's encouraged by his small parents to rise to the occasion no matter what his alien message really said. This film's variants also enlist my favorites for their Martha Kent, played by Neva Howell, and her husband Jonathan, played by character actor Pruitt Taylor Vince. The finale begins not only as Bravia make good on plans to invade Jarampur, Metropolis is evacuated as the pocket dimension has opened a black hole that could tear the city and the planet apart. Again, the tone leaning to Gotham City does give me confidence in how they'll handle Batman in this continuity. Using Mr. Terrific's T-Craft, Perry White, played by character actor Wendell Pierce, gives a green light to post a story everywhere. Neat how the Daily Planet adapted to a digital age, and how the movie depicted even lesser-known employees. Their entertainment, columnist Cat Lance, played by Michaela Hoover, and the loud, emotionally enthusiastic sports editor Steve Lombard, played by Beck Bennett. His Armies of Bravia events They're met by both Green Lantern and Hawkgirl. The former flips tanks by flipping the hard-like construct bird, and the latter deals with Gurkos. He refuses to evacuate and ends up catching a fatal case of tall building syndrome. After a lengthy fight between the engineer, Superman, and Ultraman, we find out who Ultraman really is as he pulls off his tattered mask. A genetic clone of Superman made from Lex studying past encounters. He deliberately used a DNA sample that would produce a means of ruining Superman, so would have total control over him. This is actually not a bad remix of the infamous Nuclear Man, and Krypto is the key to beating him and sending him into the black hole. Not quite a snappy grapple, but it will do. As Superman confidently tells off Lex in one of the film's signature scenes, before he's hauled off to Belle Reve, he gets pounced by Krypto, Mr. Terrific shuts down the portal, and the Daily Planet's expose goes viral. He's even roasted by Maxwell Lord, played by James' brother and film collaborator Sean Gunn. Ouch. Lois and Superman share a kiss in the shopping arcade, another candidate for a perfect shot. As Supergirl, played by Millie Alcock of House of Dragon fame, comes to pick up Krypto, Clark looks at the Kemp Family album as the credits roll to Punk Rocker by Iggy Pop and the Teddy Bears. I am so looking forward to both her movie next year and The Man of Tomorrow in 2027. The first stinger sees Clark and Krypto overlooking Earth from the moon, a visual I really enjoy. The second stinger sees Clark and Mr. Terrific fixing Metropolis, and like the Justice League, it's a work in progress. The film was widely acclaimed by critics and audiences alike, proving the ideal burst of optimism at a time we all need it most. It also grossed a respectable $354 million domestically and over $614 million worldwide, marking the first time since 2008 a DC adaptation has outperformed their rivals at Marvel. I mentioned before I want them both to be successful for their own reasons, and I'll be around, so I'm going to pass you what comes next. That's all for now. Take care.